people don't have a relationship or didn't have a father who was present. My father wasn't present. He was four states away, but he was present in a way, you know. And I think, you know, it's interesting to hear you talk about this because what's going through my mind, at least, is, you know, maybe as a society or as a country or whatever, we're starting to realize that our relationship with our parents isn't necessarily, at some point it becomes within our control, or we don't necessarily have to put the labels or the parameters that the rest of the church or the popular media want to see, or say is good, that those relationships can be meaningful and powerful and can be very different than what I don't know. Does that make any sense to you?
Well, yeah, ultimately, for me, I don't know about some of the people around me. I had to make it be something different, because if I made learning how to throw a ball and put that responsibility on my dad, or my conversation about sex, or learning how to drive, or learning how to shave, or learning how to do all of these TV show depictions of dad, then there's no way I would have ever went and reached out and created the relationship. Like, I would have never did that if I allowed those things to define it. I mean, I realized I was 8 when I learned my dad couldn't read. I was 10 years old helping my dad write a card, telling him each letter how to spell a card he was trying to write to a woman. I recognized I was named after my dad. My mom put a huge emphasis on being better than your parents, wherever they are or wherever they were when they created you. So my mom was very, very specific about how she communicated with me around him not being around, him not being there. I mean, ultimately, I was 15 years old when I introduced myself to my grandfather.
Yeah.
Because I remember my dad taking me over his house as a 5 or 6 year old, but he wasn't home when we got there. I remember the patch of grass in the driveway. And one day I'm at my best friend's house, who had already been my best friend since I was 9. We're riding our bikes. I ride by this house, and then I just get a flash as if I recognize this house for some reason. So I asked my buddy, asked his friends, who lives there? He's like, some old man and some old lady. So one day I was at home, really feeling like my granddad lived in this house. I just had a feeling like, man, I think my dad took me there when I was like a little kid. And I built up enough nerve. I rode my bike over to this house and I knocked on the door. And I said, lady came to the door. I said, how you doing, man? My name is Donald Black Jr. I was wondering if my grandfather lived here. And she said, what's your grandfather's name? I said, I don't know. She said, well, hold on one second. And then she closed the door. So I sat there being the very sarcastic 15-year-old that I was, thinking so if he's in there, what the fuck she leave me at the door for? If he isn't in there, what the fuck did she leave me at the door for? So I sat there puzzled, nothing made sense for why she left me at that door. So then she comes back to the door. She said, come in. I walk in. I see this really, really, really dark-skinned black guy. And the reason why it really took me that he was very, very dark is my dad is very, very light. So I'm like, how you doing, sir? My name is, he said, sit down, little Donald. And I'm like, holy shit. I said, can I call my mom? He said, yeah, tell her to come over. So my mom comes over and we have this, why weren't you around my dad conversation with my grandfather? And he explained it. And he explained that he was in his own marriage and my grandmother was in her own marriage. But they got together anyway. And when they got together, she got pregnant with twins, Donald and Donna Jean. And they got named after her husband, is how I got the last name Black.
Oh, okay.
Right, which is just, all this is just crazy. But I mean, literally, when you say father, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I've been researching You know, probably my whole
Amazing.
like my
Dude,
whole
that's an
life.
amazing story. That's amazing. So,
Right.
wow.
So for me to move to Cleveland 12 years ago with the intention of creating a relationship and figuring out who I am, and in 12 years of that, my dad passing away with like all kinds of scary levels of closure is like, oh, Donald, this is the book. This is the story beginning to end. That's not this autobiographical, do I remember what I was when I was 7? Me moving back to Cleveland, me driving around these neighborhoods has triggered all of the memories that I had been kind of hanging on to or holding on to. I mean, me and my father built my fucking fence in the backyard,
Yeah.
you know, but it was my fence. You know, it wasn't his fence and I'm the kid and son, you're about to build this fence. It's like, hey, I done watched 20 YouTube videos, Dad. I know if I get this, I'm gonna pay this dude a couple $100 to cut my old fence out. I know I can get it back up. And he's like, oh, I want to help you. So we built my fence. So then he says, what else you gonna do? I'm like, I'm gonna build my shed. Well, I call him for the shed, no answer. Call him again, no answer. Call him again. I'm like, oh shit, I'm 9 years old all over again, sitting here with my feelings hurt because this dude has not called back. I'm being triggered. This is one of the issues that I've had that I didn't know.
Right.
Being aware of it wasn't like a, oh, fuck you, because this is what you keep doing to me. It's like, oh, this is one of the things that's making you feel some kind of way, Donald. I mean, I've been tapped out of my emotions since I was very, very, very little, you know, and I was aware enough.
And you also have emotions right in front, you know, like they're
No,
right there.
but they used to be
Yeah.
off. It used to be off. I was the quiet kid that made the room. Well, maybe they was on there because I was always making people uncomfortable because I'm so quiet.
Yeah.
You know, is everything okay? Is anything wrong? I was that. I was quiet, but probably oozing still all the emotion the same way. So it's just weird. I mean, it's the journey back to Cleveland is rooted in the relationship with my dad.
That's amazing.
You know, it's amazing work that got created out of it, and it's a whole lot of resolve that came out of it that I'm aware as much as I can be. You know, I mean, from it's mind blowing. My dad couldn't read, and everybody in the audience knew my dad.
When are you working on that book? I mean, still sidelined, you know.
Now, currently,
Yeah.
I'm literally currently, I have consolidated, 12 years worth of artist statements. I've consolidated, I've organized probably about, I would say maybe 250 hours of video interview and conversation. I've uploaded maybe like 30, 40 videos to YouTube. They're private though.
Okay.
So it's like 40 videos that are all private. Whereas me being able to organize this conversation, and then I've taken audio recordings, I've uploaded them to YouTube. This is a cheat code if you ever need it. You upload it to YouTube, and YouTube gives you a full transcription within like an hour.
Really?
Really?
I didn't know that.
So I was researching like programs to transcribe, and they all had monthly fees, and you send them the video and all that stuff. One guy says, all you got to do, upload a video on YouTube. You go to the little 3 dots. It says open transcription. You cut off the timestamp, and you can copy and paste YouTube's transcription, which is fairly accurate. I mean, it's way easier than...
Yeah.
So that's so I've been doing that, and I've been turning the conversations or interviews into, essays and documents. So right now I'm literally consolidating the text, and my 40 images that I desire to be in this book are at about 130 right now. But I'm literally actively doing that right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Well, so are you still into this?
Yes, totally. No, it was right up my alley. It was kind of like, oh yeah, I found a couple old photographs of my dad because the lady who, her name is Osi, the lady who, my grandfather's wife, Osi, passed away in March.
Okay. Wow.
So several months after my dad passed away, you know, my little cousin, my uncle, who's my dad's brother, same dad. I met her at Newbridge teaching, and she's like, you know, having this conversation with me about, we're talking about fathers. I'm talking about fathers to the kids. And then somehow that turns into us realizing that you're my uncle's daughter. You know, and for a long time, my uncle was Uncle Junior because I didn't know my grandfather's first name because I just was like, damn, I got a granddad. So that's what I called him. It's like I called his son Uncle Junior and didn't know his real name either. It was all of this was hilarious. But I met this little girl at the program I was teaching at.
Wow. Was your dad's is your dad's sister still alive?
Yep. My Aunt Donna Jean is still alive. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. His twin sister.
My
And
dad my
yeah.
dad's twin just passed away. So
Oh, really?
my dad was a twin too. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So fraternal too. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I found these two very old black and white photographs of my dad and my aunt. You know, they're like, I mean, they almost look like a cutout. It looks like a cutout of a contact sheet. It's probably like a 6'7", 6'4", 5" format contact sheet, and it's a little square cut out. But there's pictures of them from like 7 or 8 years old that have been they're hand colored photographs.
Wow.
So I was thinking about reproducing my dad in a larger image. Um,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, I got some ideas. I just didn't know how much space I had. I was
Well, I mean, I think it depends again on how large you want to produce the things. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure as a photographer you can produce whatever size, obviously. But I don't know what you were thinking in terms of that. I have it's a if you've been in the downtown gallery in the new space. I mean, I can send you pictures
okay.
on and the floor plan and stuff. But for a big solo show for two of you, it's still a goodly amount of work. I was thinking 8 or 9 drawings by Doris. So
What size? I mean, well, I can tell you my size. I got 2 sizes that I've been producing my work on, and I've been putting a lot of my photographs on wood panels. So I've been putting plywood, create a frame.
yeah,
They present like paintings. You get the wood texture in the photograph, which is something that I've really been attracted to. I've been doing them 32 by 48, and I've been doing them 4 by 6 feet. So roughly like a 3 by 4 or 4 by 6 is the size that I've been making a lot of work.
Well, 32 by 48, I could probably comfortably get, um, to 10 to 12.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know how I present the show yet. I'll have to get in the space and with the work and figure out how, like, a layout, but that would probably be realistic. I want to get enough air so that it's not crowded.
Mm-hmm.
I love the 4 by 6 idea, but that's probably too big. I could probably handle one of those in a special spot, but like that's an awesome size.
Yeah, and I have one. Well, what I was really thinking of doing on the larger scale, based on our conversation, was I wanted to, like I wrapped my dad's casket. You saw that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take that image that I constructed, same format, and present that.
Yeah. Okay.
So it probably would be more narrow. I would imagine that on a 6 feet, 8 feet scale, it might be 3 feet wide.
Okay, and really big.
Yeah. So that was the only. I mean, that was one that I was thinking that. I mean, I was gonna print and make one that large, whether we were able to fit it in or not.
No, I would love to put that in. That sounds, really powerful.
Yeah, and then the other pieces that we wound up selecting kind of complement, our conversation, like an emphasis on my father with some supporting images of the narrative. Ultimately, is I guess how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, that sounds. I think the other artists, they're all drawings of dads and mostly daughters, interestingly.
Mm.
But I don't think that's reading some of the stuff and talking to him a little bit. That's not necessarily conscious. You know what I mean? I think that's really whatever.
How it kind of how it laid out.
Someone pointed that out to him and he was surprised. But but they're not super large, so I just have to talk through him a little. But yeah, no, I think I'd rather get in the space and edit. Honestly, and and hopefully you and I are able to do a little bit of that together. Again, this is I think what I also want to do. I don't know if you understood. I want to do some kind of brochure or small, catalog like thing,
right?
Images from both of you and talk about. Because I haven't had a chance to talk to Doris like this, but talk conversations with both of you and do some kind of essay. I think it's really important to do that. The older I get, the more I realize that people don't do that shit.
What's that? Have the conversation.
Or have those conversations, but also don't write some sort of critical essay along with even small shows they curate. And artists don't get that often. They don't get that opportunity to have that done for them. So in my position at a fucking university, I should be, I need to be doing that. So I tend to do that or ask for that done or have someone do that or do it myself, nearly with, especially every show. So at least I can. So
yeah, no, I think I remember the first time that somebody did a critical analysis of the work and communicated something back, and they put it in a book and catalog. I was like, "Holy shoot!" I mean, it was like a rites of passage or something. It was like a benchmark because prior to that, you write your own artist statement, maybe you put your work up, you give the titles, and that's it.
And if you're anything like me, you spend a lot more money on putting your own work up than you ever make back. So,
oh yeah, that's definitely like you. Is it? I had one other question, just out of curiosity. Is it limited to? Not even is it limited? Is there room for any video?
Yeah.
Like on any level or scale.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple of flat screens we could do. But again, the space is limited, but I have smaller ones and larger ones. I have some projection for that. I think in that space, a flat screen probably would work better than any kind of projection, unless the projection was a dominant part of the show.
I got you.
In terms of being able, there's a lot of light because it's store furniture. So I put up a little temporary sort of barrier wall, really for to put vinyl and didactic information on,
right?
But sort of street signage and interior signage, and even with that, it's still a lot of natural light comes in that space, for a good part of the day. But yes, the short answer is yes. We just have to figure out how we would what we would put it up, and whether it be I think they're like 26 by 40. I can't remember standard TV sizes now, but
got you.
Flat screens that I can mount on the wall, or there's some really small ones, or I have like a Mac, like the one I can see in your space there. Yeah, something like that. I mean, yeah, but yes, that'd be great.
Yeah, because if I could share, maybe like what you might have seen, like maybe the eulogy, or maybe some video clips I got of my dad shooting pool, maybe in proximity to that larger piece, if that was available, even if that maybe substituted for a piece, in terms of like if you said, okay, yep, we can fit these 8, if we had to take one out for the video display. But yeah, I was just wondering. Yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good to me, But I'm an editor more than I am. I'm more of yeah, give me. I want more than when it comes to I'm an editor in the group. So I like a lot of work John would tell you because he studied with the reason I'm at Kent is because Kirk Mangus, the guy who was John's MFA advisor, brought me to Northeast Ohio, and he and his wife Eva Kwan